Hello and welcome to the SaWaM site event. This is Annika Conrad from Adelphi, and with me is the SaWaM team, and they will give you today a deep dive into the SaWaM tools. And I hope you did not miss a presentation of the SaWaM team at the final conference live event on Tuesday. If so, however, I'm sure the team will give you a good introduction and you will have the opportunity to watch the plenary session from the live event in the real life program starting next week.
So, good morning. Thank you for this live presentation here, and thanks to all who followed us in the last 2 days in Berlin. What we want to do now, I think, I hope some of you have seen our presentation of the SaWaM project as a whole in Berlin on Tuesday. What we want to do today is to dive deeply into SaWaM, into the online prototype, and show all the functionalities available here. My name is Thomas Cook. I'm from GAF AG. We are programming and developing the system in close cooperation with the KIT in Garmisch, where we have Christoph Lorenz here. We will now start with a short presentation for 10-15 minutes to give you a background on the techniques and what is behind the system and the data flow. And this was my telephone, bad thing. And I will just start now with the introduction, with the techniques behind it. The SaWaM prototype is built on the user requirements and the requirements from the information access to support here decisions. For this, we use the quite fast service or fast services. We decided to use a microservice architecture here. This helps us to change things quite easily, to set up the things easily, and it's a system where we can go on easily with developing it from a prototype to a really live system then for the users. We have a front end, what you will see shortly, and this is the backend application here, architecture. All these elements you can see here for data handling, for the user handling, and the access rights, and it allows us to develop a user-friendly interface and to manage it quite easily. Okay. Oops. Too fast. The data we are using comes from all the partners in the SaWaM project. So we are in total 9 partners here, and 7 of them are providing data and information layers, which are collected at the KIT in Garmisch at the thread server. This is a technique from Unidata. This data server is tailored for large data sets, mainly the net CDF data. It provides a special protocols and tools to access this information and provide it in a good way. It is additionally scanning the directories on new data and on operational information and providing it to our tool, to the SaWaM online tool. All this data, and these are several terabytes, are accompanied by fact sheets, color legends, and all this data is provided via the thread server, which is the data source for our application here. To get the link between the thread server, between the data and our SaWaM online tool, is a metadata tool behind it. Here you can register and identify the data sets which are available. All the data, the necessary metadata is collected here. It could be easily incorporated in the system, and then the system, this SaWaM tool is scanning the data catalog on the thread server and then it's automatically collecting this data and providing it if you release it on our side in the SaWaM tool. For the visualization, this NetCDF data are mainly large raster data sets, multi-dimensional raster data sets for precipitation forecast, categorical forecast, and so on, and discovering large areas with different resolutions up to 10 kilometers. Christoph can add here some information later on to the datasets itself if you go through the tool. We are using a standard web mapping service protocol, which is quite efficient for visualization, especially of the large and complex data here. We tailored this and configured this web mapping service. And we show here categorical information, forecasts, drought indicators. So we have this a lot of information and different information layers here from the behind the data sets. What you can see here on the screenshots as well. These are mainly time series. Time is beside spatial information is quite important, but to get this information and to understand it, we are using, for example, the OpenDepth protocol for the transferring of the data, and we have tailored visualizations, for example, for categorical and ensemble forecasts here. And to show this, we incorporated several kinds of charts here, what you can see on the screenshots below in the windows. For example, for the categorical forecasts on the left, or for the continuous or area averages on the right-hand side here. This is based on the Apex charts library. This gives us more freedom here to develop well understandable graphs here in the tool. To understand the system, we had initially the idea to provide this information in a very special manner in a spatial layer, but we found this much too complicated, especially the water managers, which the system is aiming at. They are very well understanding and used to graphs, and so we decided to use these graphs here to present this information because it's easier to understand, especially in a environment where you have decision makers and water managers. It's possible to download this data here and to present it in other presentations and ways of communication as well. The system is published or publicated and filled with data, but it's not completely ready now. What we are planning to do with the tool now is we are publishing more and more data, more forecast measures and relevant information. We are providing some further additional information to the data layers, bug fixing, etc., revisions, and so on. This is clear. There are always changes in the system. For this, it's quite flexible to change things. We are planning some more review vision meetings with the users in our project areas where we have contacts, mainly in Iran, in Sudan, and in Brazil, where we collect then the feedback and the information, how practical the tool is and what could be improved in this tool. There we can find some priorities on features, and from this feedback rounds, and we will improve the prototype with these feedbacks here. We hope to have this all at the project end in December 2020. But we are for sure planning to go on with this tool and provide the forecasts in the next months and years. This is in cooperation with the KIT, because our plan is that this is not the end of the system. We want to incorporate it in further projects and provide it to the to users worldwide, not only in the project regions. Okay, this is the end of my presentation here. If you want to access the system, the SaWaM online prototype, you can use this link here on sawam.gov.de. You can access it. Christoph, are there some remarks you want to add here at this point?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Actually, no remarks at the moment. Maybe just from my side. So my name is Christoph Lorenz. I'm the coordinator of the SaWaM project, and yeah, we're responsible for developing this whole server backend or data server backend system that actually provides all the data that is gathered and produced in the SaWaM project. And I think we will now just dive into the tool and do a little bit of hands-on practice with it.
Okay, thank you. So I will change now for the tool. So what you can see here is the actual entry site, the entry page. Usually you use, or you should use, a login. We have some colleagues and project partners who will provide in future some sensitive data as well. Here for this we protected the system, but in the moment you can see here there's a login or guest login for San Francisco. This is the area in Brazil where we are working, and the second one is the region in Sudan, in the southern Sudan, and it is covering parts of Ethiopia as well. So this is the second login. In the moment, you don't need any credentials here. If you log in here, you will see this first plain view in the system, and you have here the big map with the outline of the San Francisco basin. You can see here the sub-basin as well. These are data and information which is all provided from our partners in the areas where they defined, okay, these are the main spatial areas which should be analyzed and shown in the system here. So we have the sub-basins and the extended San Francisco basin here. These are the informations. We have the information on the reservoirs. So the whole number of reservoirs in the system shown with these dots here in this region. The San Francisco is having some of the largest reservoirs and dams in the world in the system, and it's very important here in this area for energy production in Brazil, for water supply, for irrigation. So this is a very important basin for the northwestern part of Brazil. What you can see here is this chart's gorgeous. So this is the information where we collect some, or can collect some in situ data, and can see if the forecasts and the information and the historical data, what this is providing here. These are all the background informations you can see here. On the left-hand side, we have two sheets or parts where you can choose. The one is the historical data. Historical data is data, mainly gridded data here as well, where you can see the data of sometimes the last 30, 40 years. Many of the data sets we have are starting in the 1980s, and then we have here the categories for the forecast data. Why have we changed, or why have we do this two categories of data. The first one is the historical data. There's a lot of reanalysis, and the forecasts are running on the historical data. So you can see here what has happened and how good, more or less, the situation was in the past. If you are deciding to take some gridded data here, you have all these thematic layers here. I'm now opening all this thematic layers. You have the hydrometeorology, hydrology, ecosystem functionality, and drought indicators. So thematic layers which help them reservoir managers with the data, with the daily management of the system. And here you have a whole number of different variables. For example, the precipitation, you have here the reanalysis. So this is really data from the past, which was going through the models and is provided. If you click here and select it, the legend is coming up here at the left. What you see are the mean monthly precipitation information. You have an information here on the layer. This is derived from ERA 5 land data. And you have here the total precipitation in millimeter per days. What is missing and will follow shortly is a fact sheet on the data, which is explaining the scientific background shortly, what is behind the data, how it is produced, to decide how we can use this data, or how a manager, a water manager, dam manager can use this data, what information is really in the data. It's quite important really to provide this information. And for further information, we have the possibility to include some external links for much more information and details on these layers. What you can see here is the layer is covering the whole basin. The models are running on this basin, and it's not by hazard. This is really the system is cut at the edges here around with a certain buffer around the basin here. So this is what you can see. You can zoom in, zoom out. You see it's gridded data here in the background. And then you can start to play the data. So you can see the changes in the data. We have here the monthly data since 1981. So this needs some time. You see all the changes over time. You can go more to the recent times. And then the time series is running through. This is all provided via the web mapping service here. You see the yellow colors are really, if it is quite dry and no precipitation is there, and the more and darker blue you have, the more precipitation was there in the past. So this is the reanalysis data. On the background, Christoph can say something later. What you have additionally is a daily precipitation derived from satellites. This is an analysis which is done by our colleagues in Marburg. Here you can see the measurements, the real precipitation measurements from satellite data. This is available starting from February 2017 on, and providing information here. And yeah, needs a little bit of time, but you see here the precipitation appearing. So this is a further proof that you can see, okay, how is the precipitation, the spatial differentiation, where was the rain in the past here in this data. See, you can change it here. Sometimes if there is no data in it, there was no precipitation at all. Sometimes, or no data. This is depending on the satellite data available. The next layer we have here is the temperature. This is also provided by our colleagues in Garmisch from the KIT. This is the same time range. It is from the, let's say, same model runs from Garmisch, and the information, this is the most important information. Together we have the precipitation and the reanalysis from the temperature here in the system. This is provided here together with all the other information. I'm stopping the run here. Additionally, you have the information from hydrology. These are informations which are from our colleagues at the UFZ in Leipzig. You have here the precipitation reanalysis as well. This is the hydrology. This is the stream flow. So these are model simulations for the stream flow, and what it shows is really the stream flow in the San Francisco River, and the color is giving the changes with the seasonality of the stream flow here. You see it quite good here. If there is a gap in the stream flow, you see there's a large reservoir in this area, so it's really only the stream flow in the river itself. Okay, further information which is quite important is the soil moisture information. This is a gridded data set as well. It shows changes in the soil moisture, which is a quite important information for the dam management and the availability of water, and what can be expected here. So these are the hydrometeorology, the hydrology, and then we have a number of information from the ecosystem functionality. We have here the net primary productivity, which shows how much, let's say, vegetation is growing and how much carbon is stored there. This is a quite important information combined with the soil moisture and the water availability. Vegetation needs a lot of water. Then we have here the water balance over time. This is quite showing the amount of water which is used by the ecosystem. So this is the water which is used here. You can see here always the information up here. Further information and ecosystem functionality information are provided with an NDVI, which shows the changes which within the area with a very high resolution on the vegetation growing and greenness here. Then there's another vegetation index for the region. I'm just clicking through it. We can later on discuss on the datasets itself. Here we have the enhanced vegetation index. So there's a number of vegetation indexes who show what is going on in the area in the past. So a lot of reanalysis and the model data from the past here, and we have some drought indicators. So combined indicator CDI, which is giving information on the drought in this area. And some other. Let's see indicators here. So there's a really large number of data sets. The last time I counted it was 32 information layers we had here and variables which are available. What we can do is then we can change to region averages, where you can see the average. What you must do here in the workflow this must be described further. You have to select the area you want to have a catchment area average here, and then you can select, for example, the reanalysis data and the precipitation, and then you get this nice graph here showing the precipitation in millimeters per day over the whole area for the whole time series here. What you can do additionally, you can zoom in here. You can see all the data really in very high resolution over the time in this graphs. You can collect here some further information as well from the temperature. You can, yes, take this one, and you can compare the time series from the precipitation together with the temperature here, showing the dependencies from temperature and precipitation. So you are always able to open two graphs in one window, for example, here. And then we have some point data information. All this data, which is in this light green, can be shown here, and it should show some data. No, it's in the moment it's not working here. This is the historical data, so there's a bunch and a lot of data available. But what is really the most interesting here for most people is the forecast data. This is a really new data in the system provided for the hydrometeorology from KIT in Garmisch mainly. We have here the same as in the historical data, the precipitation forecast. But we have here really a large bunch of data. So you have the ensemble mean information, for example, and the whole timeline. What you can see here is the ensemble mean for the forecast data for the San Francisco basin. Here, if you want, you can zoom in, it's no problem. It's a normal functionality. But what is quite important is that you have a look on the issue date here below the variables. And this is the lead time. The start date can be chosen here. So you can have a look on several forecasts which are issued month by month. It is mainly around the 6th or 7th of a month, where the data is analyzed, processed, and then provided here over the system. So you can really have the forecasts from different dates here. These are available. There are several means, standard deviation information, the ensemble anomalies, which are showing the more or less the extremes in this data. Christoph will tell them more on the data here, and these are the continuous data here. What we have then is the categorical forecasts here. You should have a good view and look on the legend here, which gives information on this forecast. If it is, we have these 4-5 categories here, and even the information, how good you can trust this information. Let's say from a manager side, the darker is the color here, and you have this forecast information. The distribution, the spatial distribution is shown quite well from the models. You have the quantile categorical precipitation forecast here. It is provided in a tercile categorical forecast as well, and you can have a look on the extremes here as well. these are giving information on what extremes are to be expected, if it is extreme wet or extreme dry, shown with the red or the bluish colors here. And you get information on the probabilities in the area of the precipitation, if it is above normal or below normal. These are the different data sets here, which are shown. So this is a whole bunch of information. We tried to present it in a well-organized manner here with all the information, the fact sheets behind it in the system. And you can work here with the, beside the gridded data, then with the averages as well. Stop, I have always to select the area here. Then you have to select the variable, and then you have the information, the graphical information on the ensemble means here, with the uncertainties as well here in the system. Christoph, do you want to say some words on the graphs as well?
Maybe a bit later. Just continue, and then I will add some further comments later.
Okay, so the same can be done, and additionally with the categorical forecasts, you can show again two graphs at the same time. Here for the whole area, it's possible to do this for sub-catchments as well. If you should go here, it should work. No, it's not available for the subcategories in the moment here. And we have the point data. I have to collect the data here. Yeah, there. This is the information. So the forecast information. There is grid data, point data is not completely populated in the moment. You have all this forecast data as well here, if it is available. No, you can see that variables are coming up. Here we have the hydrological information forecast in the system, and the standard deviation of the ensemble as well for the stream flow. It's coming. No, here we need the categorical information as well. In the moment I have a problem to access the server. Okay, happens sometimes. Some things we have to improve in the future. So you see there are a lot of information available on the system. Let's see for the forecast. This is quite nice here. So, and you can have this whole information for up to 6-7 months in the future with this data sets. You can zoom in, zoom out. All this information is available here. Yes. These are the main tools. I think the usual functionality of an online GIS system are quite well known. You can change, or we are providing then some more background information here. Yeah, this is the whole system, what we can show in the moment, and this is available for other areas as well. So this is it from my side in the moment, and I will hand over to Christoph that he can show some more information, for example, how the data comes from the thread server, from the data providers to our system here. Christoph, you will take over.
Just take some time until the microphone is activated. Okay, now it should be
okay.
Okay, thank you, Thomas, for this presentation. So maybe before I get into my hands-on tutorial or lesson or presentation, I want just to add one comment. So at the moment, it seems like there's a lot of let's say cluttered information in this tool. This is certainly true. So our SaWaM project is a highly, let's say, what's the right word? Interlinked and diverse project with many different sub-projects from many different fields like ecosystem modeling and remote sensing and so on. So what we are doing at the moment is we just try to collect the most important information from all these different sectors, and we implement this information now in this tool. So this is why it might look a little bit cluttered and not that tailored like it should look like in the end. Like Thomas already said, the next step would be that we approach our international colleagues, and then we do a kind of demonstration to them, and then we will, at least this is our plan, then we will remove the information that is not needed and that is just, let's say, filling the tool with unnecessary information. That being said, a lot of this information was actually required by our international partners. So all these different forecast variables, forecast measures, like these categorical tertile forecasts and so on. These were actually required by our partners in the different study regions. So we have organized several workshops in each of these regions, and we ask them what they actually need in such a kind of decision support system, and especially these categorical forecasts, they are of high interest for each of these partners. And maybe you remember the presentation from the Sudanese minister. He already said that sometimes the information, if there will be above or below normal conditions, this is already enough for many water managers, because they know their basin quite well, so they know how to react if there will be below or above normal conditions. So at the moment, we have focused on implementing all the features that we would like to see in this tool, and that you can really work with it, and that the performance is quite good, because like Thomas already said, all the data is stored here in Garmisch-Partenkirchen on our data server. The tool is currently running at the GAF AG in Munich, so we had to make sure that this whole data transfer from Garmisch, from our server to this tool and then to the front end, that this is actually working quite smoothly. And that was actually a quite big effort, and I think we have achieved a quite good result here. Okay. So what I would like to do now is I would just like to present to you a kind of workflow, how we can actually put our data into this tool. Because when we started the project, we were still playing around with Excel sheets and so on. Now let me share my screen. Now you should see my screen. This screen. Okay, good. Can you see my screen?
No, it's loading.
Still loading.
Loading. Okay, I think I have to change some things. While I change the security settings, I will continue to speak. So in the beginning, we played around with Excel sheets, because let me see if it's working now. I hope that I don't have to restart this whole tool. Yeah, now it should work, right?
It's still loading in now. Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect, very nice. Okay. And then we have realized that there is such a huge amount of information and data, and these Excel sheets became longer and longer and longer and longer. And we had information about gridded products, information about these catchment area average products, about point data, and so on. And it just became a huge mess. And it was very difficult to actually keep track on all this different information and data that should be, in the end, included in the tool. So we have decided to go a little bit different way. So the GAF AG has developed a kind of metadata tool, which now makes it very easy to include new data in the system. And this is really necessary because we have to be quite flexible also in terms of our partners. So if they require new data, we would like to implement this new data as efficient and as quick as possible. Or if they want to remove a layer, we would also like to do this as quick and as efficient as possible. So we think now this whole workflow with this metadata tool is now really efficient, and it's really helping a lot to fill the tool with information and data. Okay, so that's what I want to show you now. And I start first with our thread server. Now you should see this kind of folder structure, right? I just want to make sure that everything's working.
Yes, we see the folder structure.
Perfect. Thank you. Now this is actually the front end of our data server, and you see here now our 4 different study regions of the SaWaM project. Below that you have a 5th folder which holds all the let's say auxiliary information like these color palettes and the fact sheets for our decision support system. And now I would like just to try to add a new data set to our tool. Therefore, I go to our Sudanese and Ethiopian domain. And now I just have to click through different layers and folders so that I end up in the data set that I want. So in this example, I would like to add temperature data. Or regional average temperature data, and now this is actually the data set page on our thread server, and these 4 different access methods are now the different protocols how we can actually access the data. So the HTTP server allows a very simple download of data. So if I just want to retrieve the data from the server, I can click here. Then Thomas already mentioned the web mapping service. This would be the button here. So if I would like to include the data in a kind of online system, like in our example, I will have to use this kind of protocol. And the 3rd protocol that I would just like to mention is the so-called OpenDAP protocol. And this access method allows us to actually work with remote data as if this data would be on our own systems. And this is what we are using here. So we just select this whole link, and we do a copy, and then we go to the SaWaM back office. Now this still looks very empty, so we have to select a region first. Again, we go to our Sudan Ethiopia domain. Then we can select the different spatial groups here. In this case, we would like to go for the catchment data sets. Then we go to hydrometeorology. Then we go to temperature. And here we have now the reanalysis temperature. Then we select this, and then we start to edit this layer. And now we can enter the name of the layer. We can add a description. We can also add a short description which is shown when I select the layer in the tool. We have the option to select a fact sheet now, which is very nice because this is automatically loaded from our thread server. So if we add a new fact sheet, there's no need for any kind of manual changes to the tool. So this tool automatically identifies all the currently available fact sheets. We can add, of course, the attribution, and this is here now the link to the netCDF, and this is where I put now this data set link. We can add the variable unit for the spatial data sets. We can add the color palette, the value range, and so on and so forth. We can also select the legend file, which is important, for example, for all these categorical data sets where we don't have a kind of continuous color range. But in this case, we need a kind of categorical color range, and this is what we can select here. And then we click on Save, and then we click on Publish, and we confirm that we would like to publish. And then we move on to our decision support system, and I would like to start now from scratch. So I reload the page. I log in as a guest user for the Sudan and Ethiopia domain. You can see sometimes it still shows some bugs because, yeah, it's still under development. Now I click on region averages, catchment areas. This is what we want. Now we see here the Blue Nile Basin. I think we have to reload it once more. This is always the problem with live demonstrations. So down here we see the Blue Nile Basin, and on top here you see the Tekeze Atbara Basin. And just for you, if you are interested, this highly controversial GERD dam, which is currently built by the Ethiopians and which is causing a lot of trouble in this region. This is actually located right in the middle of our Blue Nile Basin here. So now we click on this Blue Nile Basin. We move on to hydrometeorology. We click on temperature, reanalysis, temperature, and then it shows the layer that we have just added to this system. The unit is still wrong because I think it's a problem in our NetZDF files. So you can see it's working, but we still have a lot to do, of course. So we have to clean up everything and make everything a little bit more clear and more understandable. But I think this is a very, very good basis for moving on for further developments. And maybe one other thing that I would like to show is when we move on to these forecast data, one thing that we really would like to, that we found really important in this tool is that if a new forecast comes in, because like we just mentioned during during our presentation at the conference, we provide our new forecasts on the 6th or 7th of each month. So we have to make sure that this forecast is automatically loaded into the system so that you don't have to intervene manually or to add a new layer manually. So the adding of layers for the forecast data is working a little bit different than these layers that I have just shown. So what this tool is doing, and this is really nice, it is constantly scanning in the background all the forecast layers that we have. And if I can just now move back to our thread server, I can just show it to you. So here we go to the forecasts, we go to the raster forecasts, and this folder now contains all the forecasts that we currently have. And this tool automatically scans the forecast for new files, new layers, and so on, and then it implements these layers into this tool. Yeah, so we are already 10 minutes before 10. So I would stop here and finish screen sharing. So if you have any questions, please ask us. We are also available for discussion tomorrow for the whole day. So yeah, please ask.
So I think we have to have a look in the chat. We have a number of questions there. I have here Ali from Berlin, I think, at the Institute of Resource Management in Berlin. He has a number of questions. He's quite interested. He's asking what the source of the data is, I think especially for the forecast data. Christoph, can you a little bit elaborate there?
Yes, of course. So the forecast data is based on the latest seasonal forecast from the ECMWF, from the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast, which is one of the main providers for global and also regional forecasts. So what we do is we pull this data to our server or to our systems here, and then we run a kind of post-processing methods. So in our case, it's especially a bias correction and spatial disaggregation because it's model data, so we have biases and we would like to get rid of them. So we automatically pull the data, we automatically run our post-processing methods, and then the post-processed forecasts are published via this tool. So this is the first step. The second step is then that our partners, especially the partners from hydrological modeling, that they also automatically, once it is available, that they pull our new forecast, they run their hydrological model, and then they can provide, for example, stream flow forecasts for the next coming months. Okay.
I just tried to open the fact sheet. I think this is for those who are interested in this information. We will provide the fact sheet on all these layers here. I hope you can see the system in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I'm not sure if you can see now the fact sheet.
No.
I think then I have to to change the sharing. Okay. Yes, I think then you should see it here. What you get is the whole fact sheet on the calculation, on the legend, and on the background information here. I think this is what it should look like for the whole system, for all information layers, that you have really the information, the whole bunch of information which is really of interest here. I'm looking through the chat here, what we have on questions. There's some further questions. There's the question if it is possible that this tool is updated with thematic layers. I think what we have shown just now is, yes, we can update it. Here's the question on data loggers. In principle, this is possible. In the moment, we have not implemented it fully here, that we can use data loggers as well. Oh, this is a small window here to look through the. Then there's the question if there's a statistical analysis possible for the historical data used in this tool. We can say yes, we can download in the graphs, you can download data, or should be come up that you can download the data from these graphs for further analysis. But basically the tool is primarily for visualization. What we want to do here is really to show the data and provide the information to mainly decision makers. This is the first thing. If you really want to download the data behind it, then we'll provide another link here in the system for users which are requesting this in the system. But this is not the main goal in the moment, really, to download and provide the original data behind the data, behind this visualization.
Maybe let me add just one comment here. So you have been asking for statistical analysis. So the tool at the moment is only, this sounds negative, it is not meant negative. The tool is only able to show data that is hosted on our data server. So there's at the moment no option to do any kind of analysis in the tool, because we host our data here at KIT in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, and then we just transfer the results into this tool. If we would like to add a kind of functionality for online analysis, this would be very complicated, because we would have to move the tool through the data, and then we have to make sure that enough computing resources are available. So we have to beef up kind of our data server, that it also accepts some statistical analysis. So this is a whole other dimension of work that would be required for this. So we wanted to keep it quite clean, or as clean as possible. We do the computations, we just provide the final data, and the data is then shown in this tool. This, of course, also means that we are quite flexible. So we don't have to change any functionality in the tool. We just compute new layers if they are required, and then we can, via the metadata, we can add these layers to the tool. Okay, the specific format, what you were asking for. So this thread server that we are using, this is dedicated for NetCDF data, and NetCDF data is mainly a raster data format. We also provide our time series data in the NetCDF format. This is also working, but at the moment, no other data formats are possible to be included in this tool. So you cannot include, for example, GRIP or HDF5 or whatever. So you were specifically asking for considering different formats of historical data in countries like Iran. Yeah, so if we would like to include this kind of information in the tool, we would first have to reformat it to NetCDF data, and this is also what we have done in the project. So for a region in Brazil. We have actually gathered a lot of data from our local partners, so a lot of meteor data for precipitation, temperature. We have done a lot of outlier correction and gap filling and so on and so forth. And this data is then converted to NetCDF, and then it is added to the tool. Yeah, you're also asking for the accuracy of the forecasted data. Yeah, it's it's a bit difficult. So could you show how those data are obtained from what time span? So yeah, the forecast data is, like I said before, it is obtained by ECMWF, and they provide forecasts from on the first of each month for the next around 7 months in the future. The accuracy of these forecasts is, of course, a bit difficult to explain now in such a short amount of time. So we are better than the climatology, also for quite high lead times. This is what we have seen in our analysis. But of course, we are dealing with a seasonal, long-term or long-range forecasts. So we cannot actually forecast a specific day. So it would not make sense to say on the 2nd of January there will be a 10 millimeter of precipitation. This is not going to work. What our forecasts are quite good at is if we really are interested in the whole season or on monthly averages. This is what we can do, and this is also where we think that we are quite good. Nevertheless, if we see a warning in our tool that for example, extremely dry or extremely wet conditions are forecasted, this does by no means indicate that there will be for sure these kind of conditions. So we are always dealing with probabilities. This is also why we have included these probability ranges in the tool, these forecast probability ranges, so that users, water managers, and other experts, they can actually decide by themselves if this forecast is certain enough to initiate some kind of actions or whatever. Main contact in Iran. So when we started our project, we had already an ongoing collaboration. Well, not us, but our colleagues from the University of Potsdam, with the Kazakhstan Water and Power Authority, the KWPA, and they are a huge authority with around 4,000 people working there, and they are responsible for the whole water management in the province of Kazakhstan. So they are responsible for the management of all these different enormous dams that have been built there. They are responsible for the drinking water security, for hydropower provision, and so on and so forth. And we are still working with these people together, and they are constantly asking for the new forecasts. So this is also a huge success for us, that they are still asking for the forecasts, and they are really working with our forecasts. And then we are already now looking forward to show this tool to our colleagues in Iran. And we really hope that they can somehow include this tool and the information that is shown by this tool in their, let's say, day-to-day work. And then you have been asking for the continuation of the project. Well, the project ends at the end of this year. So this is the ending of the end of the funding period. Of course, so the KIT, we will continue to provide these seasonal forecasts, because it does not make sense to stop it now. So the tool is ready. Stopping it now would be stupid. So we will, of course, continue to include these seasonal forecasts. I think the colleagues from the GAF AG, they also intend to keep this tool running. So at the moment, there is no fixed end in sight. Let's put it like this. But of course, the layers from the other groups that are now included, they will be completed, but this is then finished. So there will be no more, let's say, ecosystem layers or whatever. But the forecast, the operational data, this will be continued.
So if you have some further questions, please put it in the chat. But we are at the end of our 1 hour presentation. So if there's a last, let's say, question, then please type it into the chat. Otherwise,
just one more. Okay. Choose your question wisely.
okay. So there's still a lot of to do in the system, and really, in the moment, it's really, very much information presented here. But I think we have to scale it down, the number of information layers, and then I think it's really targeting at supporting decision makers here.
Okay, you have been asking for connecting this tool with hydrological models. Like we just said before, this tool is only a visualization platform, so you cannot download any data. This is not 100% true, because you can of course export or download these time series data when this is plotted. So there's a kind of export function, but only for the, let's say, finished visualizations. The data is, like I said, it is coming from our data server here in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. Of course, we run some hydrological models, but this is all running in the background. So there is no link between this tool and a hydrological model. If this hopefully answers your question.
So, any further question? We can open the mic for the questions as well.
Ali, just one final remark. You can, of course, get the data from us. This is no problem. So if you are interested in running a hydrological model with our data, this is no problem. We can give you an access to our data server. You can download the data, play around with it. This is no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I think we are through with our presentation. Many thanks.
Yes, thank you from my side as well. Here's Annika from Adafi. Yes, thank you for this interesting insight into the SaWaM tool and into 3 years of applied research in the SaWaM project. And to the participants, if you want to see the recording, or also to you, to the SaWaM project, the recording of this event will be available at your marketplace booth. Yes. So yes, with these words, I would like to close the session and thank you for your participation, and also thank you for the good discussion at the end. Oh, we have maybe we have time for this last question. I see that Enrique Caballero is typing in something, or maybe he just wanted to say thank you. I'm not sure. I think we have time for that. At least I have time for that. I'm not sure if you have time.
While he's typing, I will use the time.
Okay. Okay. Congratulations.
Tomorrow for the whole day is our chat session. So please drop by our booth at the virtual marketplace. We will be present. We have a timetable which shows when each of our sub-projects will be available. So if you have any further questions, please drop by and drop us a question. And we would be very happy to answer these questions and do further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also one note from my side, one last note. There is no starting the side event from the GoCam project. So if you're interested, just log out and then log in again. And there's another link in the auditorium too. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.